What's up? BigHerc916. Positivity, motivation, never settle for average. I was watching this little clip on YouTube, and Terrence Crawford was talking about, people selling their soul, right? And he was on this podcast, and I can't remember the name of the podcast. You guys help me out. You guys probably know. But I've seen this guy before, talking about some stuff, and it seemed like he has some, decent principles. And, because I heard him talking about raising his kids and stuff, and, how he, overcame some adversity. But when he mentioned the cost to sell his soul, and Terrence Crawford responded, man, it really caught my attention. Check it out.
$100 million, you can have my soul.
That's you. Now we know your character.
So he said
He roasted that dude.
100 million, he sell his soul. Said it out of his mouth quick. 100 million, I sell my soul. 100 million, man. Do you think 100 million is worth your soul? Is that the price of your soul, 100 million? I know a lot of people do stuff because they never had, anything they felt worthwhile, and materialism and having money and wealth and all this seems like it's the answer to all their problems. But when you have to live with a certain level of consciousness, and when you talk about selling your soul, what do you think that is? Do you think it's maybe taking the life of somebody else, or letting somebody bust your cheeks, or sacrificing something, or hurting other people? What do you think that is, selling your soul? What do you think that entails? And how do you think, as a vessel with a soul, that affects you? Do you think that after you've sold your soul, that you just go on and everything that you've sold your soul for, it's just, on the up and up? It's a win-win? Do you not know what rests on your consciousness? What you see when you close your eyes? When you look for guidance, who appears? See, you sell your soul and you've traded a part of yourself for something that's really not of anything. That Bugatti, that helicopter, that big house, the women, all that stuff, right? You have all that. And when you realize you've been tricked, because it still makes you feel empty. You got the Bugatti, but you can't get an erection now. You can't bust no cheeks. You got $1 million car, a big house, and you can't even keep it up to please all these women that you think want you because of your materialism. So what if that was the trick? You sold your soul, you got all the money, and you can't even bust a nut. You can't even make a move because your thing don't work. Or what if you got all this stuff and then something happens and you're confined to where you can't even, you got to depend on somebody else to feed you. Or you close your eyes, and every time you close your eyes, you see these demons. You hear these voices, and it scares the shit out of you. But you're in a big house. It's so big, when you yell, nobody can hear you. You go in your garage and you got every car you could think of. You look next to you and you got 3 women. But every time you close your eyes to go to sleep, you have nightmares. And that voice tells you, one day I'm going to collect. And you just, what is that? Reoccurring nightmare. But you've traded something and you've openly made a commitment. You think, it was a joke. No, bro. Your soul has a value. This vessel that I'm in right now, that I'm communicating with you through, my soul is basically my energy. This is just what I'm projecting while I'm here in this dimension, this plane on Earth. I'm here to experience certain things, to learn about certain things that I've chosen to experience while I'm here. but I also have free will. I have a choice, and there's light and there's darkness. You in your heart know when you've done something that is wrong, because I've seen these people, once they get caught, they get into prison and they start reading the Bible. They want to get saved. They, uh, you know, write letters to the judge. They feel bad. So to some degree, maybe they have some sense of remorse or consciousness. Then you have some people that are pure evil, serial killers, people who have maybe taken their kids' life or their parents' life, and they just got that cold look. No regret, no grief. They just ready to accept it, and they roll with it. Now, when you are able to somehow reap a financial reward, what appeared to be a financial reward for something you've done in exchange for your soul, you think you're winning, right? But at what cost? Because if God asks you to give your soul over, your heart over, he's not going to require you to do something that's going to cause harm to another person or sacrifice somebody on your behalf. But if you're willing to sell your soul and sacrifice these things, and to, do your research on who you are putting your faith into, because if that entity you're putting faith into has a name, and you research what they require in order for allegiance, maybe you'll think twice about selling your soul to that entity, to that being, whether you want to call it an alien, a demon, a spirit, the devil, Moloch, Baal, whatever it is. You might want to look at what they cash in at, what they require in order to get their blessings, because they'll bless you on earth. Yeah, they'll give you some things, that you think that, put you on top of the game, make you a winner. You got all the name brand handbags and wallets and this and that, and like I said, you're able to travel and go to these places. But if you've ever had a conversation with some of these people that have everything, their souls are empty. They can never satisfy that which they desire. It's like, imagine eating the best food, lobster, steak, filet mignon, the best wine and all this, and you can never get full. You just keep consuming, and maybe that's your curse. So you thought that stuff was going to be about something, but you come to find out that it was all an illusion. See, that's what selling your soul really equates to. You think that elevates you, that empowers you. That's the trick, man. Do your homework, man. Talk to people. And some people at home, blah, 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 and this and that, blah, and you think that maybe they're living their best life, but you find out they've had multiple marriages, divorces, maybe this person, they're hooked on pills. This person, they got some weird addiction. This person's into this or into that. You never know. And like a person who has sold their soul, typically publicly is not going to tell you, because they don't want you to know what they did to get to where they're at. Even though to some degree they have to show publicly their allegiance. But selling your soul, he said it, 100 million, man. You wonder how many people would sell their soul for 100 million. Some people sold their soul for, a couple $1,000s. They knocked somebody down for a couple $1,000 for a Rolex. Sold their soul, man. And are willing to take what comes with that, the consequence. You go to knock somebody down, and you think that it's going to be a come up from you. But what if that person is not accepting that loss? What if they knock you down, and you were tricked into thinking that you knocking them down was going to put you on top? That's what a lot of you guys don't think about. A lot of people don't rationalize that. Oh man, I got all this stuff, but with all that, what came with it? What if you gave a part of yourself away and you could never get it back? Once you've been violated, that violation is eternal. It stays with you the whole time you're in this dimension. You have to always think about whatever it is you did to get to where you're at and be able to live with that. You have to wake up knowing that you made that choice every day and be happy with it. Yeah, you got the beachfront property. Yeah, you got this right here, but you knock that down every night and you still feel like you're not it's not rewarding because there's no connection. Maybe that's one of the vessels that the entity that you sold your soul to put around you to make you feel like you're on top of the world. And the ones that really would bring value, you can't see because you sold your soul. So all you see is empty vessels. But you think those are your rewards, your blessings. You see how the trickery plays out, man? you know, that's a part of hell. Living, but not living. And you think you're on top of the world, man. And the people you're around, they've done the same thing to some degree because all you are vibing on the same shit and it's become normalized. If that's what you are chasing. Not to say everybody in that circle has sold their soul, because there are people who have basically been blessed by God Almighty, and the blessings have allowed them to live a life. And when you see them, you're thinking, oh man, but they didn't do what you did because they maintained their faith. But like darkness, it could appear to have the same powers as what you would think, or blessings of what you think you would get from God. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. Life, man, it's a wild journey, man. It's a wild ride. And you're going to hear a lot of things and be subjected to a lot of things and tempted by a lot of things. It's all about what you choose. And there are entities out there that are looking to corrupt, looking to recruit, to build their army, to build their team. Everybody wants to have the winning team. You want to be around the people you think are the ones that have all the shiny objects. But are those shiny objects really all that you think they are? Or are they just illusion? Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think, man. Sometimes it's better to take the long route than the short route. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's your choice. BigHerc916. Subscribe, share.